On December 6th of the year of our Lord 1979, there came about a planetary alignment that had never been witnessed by men. Meteors were falling from the sky, oceans were rising, the end was nigh.
Just kidding. My name is Daryl Dean Blatchley. People know me as Uncle D. On December 6, 1979, I came into the world not really expecting anything. Little did I know, in 5 years my true journey would begin.
Here she is. She just gave birth probably less than an hour before. I'm sure less than an hour before. And I walk in the room, and this is my bride, my wife, and she just had this little baby boy. And I take one look at my son, Daryl, and I think inside, oh God, what did I do wrong to deserve this? He was so ugly. He looked like he'd been beaten up and at war with somebody. And I have to tell her something good. And I'm thinking, God, what can I tell my wife to compliment her on her firstborn? So I tell her, without revealing, I'm trying not to reveal what I really feel inside. I said, he's all boy. They had to pull him out because he was so big.
I had such a hard time having him. And
many hours, and he was black and
so
blue.
His head was in a cone shape, just really pointed.
And he looked like black and blue eyes, like Manny Pacquiao.
And he had a black eye here and a cut here.
That was his introduction to our life.
Yeah, it didn't start off very well for me.
He always had snakes in aquariums, or turtles, or guinea pigs, or hamsters, or fish, or something.
So he got this room that you could just about reach from side to side, and any direction. You could almost reach the walls on each side. So it was very small. And he had his aquarium in there, and he had his bed in there, and between the aquarium and the bed.
But he built his bed up high.
Wait. He couldn't walk past his bed hardly to get past the snake that was in the aquarium. So he came to me and said, Dad, do you mind if I build my bed up so that I can, put the snake underneath and that kind of stuff? Oh, sure, because he was good with his hands. And so he built his bed up about 6 feet, as tall as I am, so he could walk under it and stuff. So he put his bed underneath his snake underneath of it. And it was that night or the next night that he woke up during the night. It was dark in there. And he woke up from a dream, and in his dream, he thought there was a snake wrapped around his arm. So he woke up all of a sudden, and he's feeling his arm, and it's a real snake, and he just freaks out, and he flips out of bed, forgetting that he's 6 feet up in the air. And as he's coming down to the ground, he realizes that's his baby snake, and both of them survive.
The house smelled so bad. And I said, Dee Dee, what are you doing? Because I knew it had to be him. He says, Mom, I didn't use your pots and pans, but I'm cooking a bat on the stove, and if I can get the skin off it, all the meat off, then I can have the skeleton. And I said, okay. So he had a can on the stove and a wire on it so he could take it off, and he was cooking that bat. Well, the house smelled so bad, so I made him take it outside. He put it on the fence, and then the ants finished all the meat off of it, and so he had his skeleton.
This was my first attempt at becoming who I was known for today. At the time, I was only 10 years old.
We went to Thailand when he was 5, so he grew up most there. So he had that viper, the head here, and the rest, but it was alive. And he said, Mom, please don't be mad at me. He's riding his bike. Please, Mom, don't be mad at me. And I said, why did you pick that up in the first place? He said, Mom, there was a lady walking, and she had a baby. And this snake came out of the bushes and started going up her leg. And she yelled for me, Chui Doi. And he asked her, she yelled, please help me. And he said, is it poisonous? And she said, very. So he said, Mom, I just prayed. I asked God to help me. I put a plastic bag on one hand. I grabbed the tail of that snake, and then I got the head. He said, and now I don't know how to put it down. So,
What did you tell him?
So I told him, go talk to your dad.
I'm reading a
So
book.
what they did was
Wait
they
a minute.
smashed it between two boards. And that night at the dinner table, well, they threw it away. That night at the dinner table, Dee Dee said to me, Mom, I skinned that snake out. Would you like to see it? I did a good job. And I said, you what? And I had looked at the snake in the trash and I thought, man, it looks like it's been skinned. That's what why he told me, was because I said at the dinner table, that snake, I looked at it to see the shape of the head and it looks like it's been skinned. And he said, Mom, I did skin it out. Do you want to see it? So I went out to the garage and he had it all pegged out. He did a good job.
Coming up next on Detour. At the age of 5, we moved to Thailand. During those years, my fascination with wildlife and the ecosystem grew. When I was 15, I met the woman with whom I knew I would spend the rest of my life with.